Hello everybody, so I'm taking over for my mom. I'm in 6th grade, just one grade above you guys, the top grade in Soleado. And so we are continuing with ALVIN Allergic to Camping, Hiking, and Other Natural Disasters. With chapter 14, we're almost done with the book. Not many pages left. The title is Avoid Disturbing Your Environment. Okay, so let's start reading. This is how to pitch a tent. Find a good spot, not too high, not too windy, not too low, not too wet. Unfold your tent. Pound some stakes into the ground. Follow the directions that came with the tent. Make some hot chocolate. Drink the hot chocolate. Reread the directions. Pull the stakes out of the ground. Move them around. Pound them in again. Try to remember how you did it 200 years ago when tents didn't come with directions and you could put one up anyway. Scratch your head. Rub your chin. Walk away and work on digging a pit toilet for a while. Dig hard and fast because your kids are crying that they'd rather die than use a pit toilet, and Annabelle is walking off with some of the tent stuff and doing her own thing. So there you can see them trying to reading the instructions, and then they're trying to put the tent up, which looks pretty lousy. Repeat steps 3 through 16 until your tent is standing through without your kids holding it up. Stand back and admire. Go in and check it out. Don't panic. Find your way out of the collapsed tent. Repeat. When our tent was finally up for good, my dad looked pretty beat. In fact, he looked a lot like Calvin's very old bunny with the stuffing coming out. I sure could use a nap, he said, diving headfirst into the tent. That was good news. It meant that we didn't have to go on a scary hike up a scary mountain. Hooray! So there's digging a pit toilet. There's the finished tent, and there's the collapsed tent. But it was also bad news. I shoved my dad a couple times. He was safely tucked inside his sleeping bag, snoring. And Annabelle and I were not safely tucked anywhere. Wake up, Dad, I cried. If you snooze, we lose. Growled my dad. That's the problem with my dad. Once he falls asleep, he's as hard to get started as a dead car battery. Annabelle and I were in trouble now. The keeper of the fire had no fire to keep. The keeper of the food had no food to guard. The keeper of all of us was out like a rocket into outer space. Gulp. Annabelle, I said, I think this means that I'm now the keeper of all of us. Yep, said Annabelle. Let's build traps. How are traps going to help us? Secret trick number 452. Traps catch monsters and bears just when they're about to grab you. Oops, they'll trip and dangle just like that. It sounded good to me. Plus, Annabelle was amazing at remembering Uncle Dennis's how to make a trap instructions. First, don't disturb nature, said Annabelle. We tiptoed around our campsite, especially around our tent where my dad was sleeping. Second, wash your hands, said Annabelle. We rubbed dirt and sand on our hands. What you doing? Said a voice. It was Buffalo. His extra eyes were rolling around. Making traps, I said. Want some help? Said Buffalo. Can you tie triple knots? I said, unpacking the ropes and rubber cords that my dad had packed. Sure, said Buffalet. My dad taught me all sorts of knots and traps, square, overhand, fishermen's, and as for those traps, mangle, tangle, dangle, and strangle. I stopped. He knew them all, just like my Uncle Dennis. Okay, you can help, I told him. First, we showed Buffalet how to tie a sapling and make it bend. Then Buffalet showed us how to make a snare for something heavy by throwing a cord over a branch of the regular-sized tree and setting it in a spring between two branches on the ground. Then we made more traps. After that, we covered our traps with mud, leaves, and moss. Check your traps often, I said, finally remembering one of the rules of trap making. It's important not to let anyone be surprised for too long. We sized up the situation. There were so many traps around our camp, but you would never know it. You couldn't see a single one. Uncle Dennis would be proud. Best of all, I felt a little safer, and so did Annabelle. Until I remembered something. Don't traps need bait? I asked. Sure do, said Buffalet. When I go fishing with my dad, we always use bait. Without it, the fish won't bite. He's looking for bait right now so we can go fishing. Bait, said Annabelle. What's bait? It's a little thing that used to catch something bigger, I said. Buffalet! A voice called through the woods. Time to go! There's my dad, said Buffalet. He must have found our bait. Gotta run. Then he was gone. And Annabelle and I were left alone with our traps. We looked around at all the traps that we could not see. We used all our senses. Just when I'd about figured it out, Annabelle gasped. How she ever figured it out before I did, I'll never know. We are the bait, she whispered. Oh, I forgot to show you the other pages. Building a trap. And sleeping. And yep. So that was chapter 14 for Alvin Ho, Allergic to Camping, Hiking, and Other Natural Disasters. My mom is going to read the next chapter, and I might see you again in a different book. Yeah, and I'll see you in a couple minutes.